So take a look at this problem right here. Now the key part that I want to establish is how you increase something by 10%. Check it out. If I multiply something by 1, I have not changed its value. What if I multiply something by, let's say, 1.4? Well, notice this. 1.4 is the same as 1 plus 0.40. Where if I multiply by this much, the 1 keeps you as is, but the 0.4 is going to increase you by 40%. What if I multiply something by, let's say, 1.07? 1.07 is the same as 1 plus 0.07, where that preserves you, but this increases you by 7%. So if I want something to increase by 10%, then what I have to do is I have to multiply by 1 plus 0.10, which is 1.1. So here's what I'm trying to get at. You want to increase something by 10%, you multiply that object by 1.1. Now that we have that, keep that in mind. Let's try the actual problem. I want a fraction x over y. And let's say that the value of the original fraction is z. Now what's going to happen is we're going to increase numerator and denominator by 1. And having done that will mean that the overall value z increases by 10%, which is why I multiply z by 1.1. And here now is what we call a system of equations. We have a system of equations. Let's solve this system and then we can discuss the final answer. So by substitution, here is what I get. This stays the same. That's 1.1. But now instead of z, I'm going to write x over y. Now, if it's okay with you, 1.1 is the same as 11 over 10 times x over y. And this is the same as x plus 1 over y plus 1 equals 11x over 10y. And what if we now cross multiply? That'll be x plus 1, 10y equals y plus 1 times 11x. And if we distribute, we get the following. We get 10xy plus 10y equals 11xy plus 11x. Let me subtract 10xy, because those are like terms. Gone. 10y equals 1xy plus 11x. I want to get y by itself, so let me move this piece to the other side. So that'll be 10y minus xy equals 11x. I can factor out y as the greatest common factor. And then I can isolate y by dividing by this quantity. And so y equals 11x over 10 minus x. From here, it's going to be a matter of using good old-fashioned logic. Remember that x and y have to be positive integers, right? They each have to be a positive integer. So here's what I claim to you. I claim that the only possibilities for x are 1, 2, all the way down to 9. And here is how I know that the only possibilities for x are 1 to 9. First of all, x has to be positive. It's set in the directions. Also, x cannot be bigger than 9 because, for instance, if x is 10, then in the denominator, it's 10 minus 10, which is 0, and that's not good. And x cannot be bigger than 10 because if x is bigger than 10, then the bottom is negative. The bottom would become negative, but the top would still be positive, which makes the overall fraction negative, which makes y negative. And that's no good because y is also positive. So these are all the values of x. Now let's see what happens if you plug in all of these x values to see what all of the corresponding y values become. And in order to do that, plug in x equals 1 and here to see what the y is. So if you plug in these values for x there and there, these are the values that you get for y. But remember that y also has to be an integer. So this one's no good, and that's no good. The ones that are not integers are trash. So the only candidates that are left over are these here. So Remember what we do with the x and y. We build a fraction out of x and y. So the only possible fractions would be 5 over 11 and 8 over 44 and 9 over 99. But let me tell you why these two are trash. Because in the directions, it said that x and y have to be relatively prime. That means that they can have no common divisor other than 1. Here, this is no good because 8 and 44 have a common factor of 2. That's why this is trash. And this is also trash because 9 goes into both top and bottom. I need a fraction where the numerator and denominator only have a common factor of 1. And that's why this works. So the final answer is 5 over 11. And if you wanted to verify it, compare 5/11ths to 6/12ths, where you add 1 to the top and bottom to get 6 over 12. And whatever this number is, I guarantee you that this number is going to be 1.1 times bigger than that number. So 5/11ths.